problems because many of the messages has already been launched. So I will try not to read my notes and to speak out of my heart what I really feel, what I should tell you as a mind message. Taking the step from what we just heard, businesses do not act by themselves, as governments do not act by themselves, or schools do not exist by themselves. Behind an organization, we have people. So the first message is, forget about the organization, whatever the organization is. In this case, is ethics in business, might be ethics in governments, ethics in politics, ethics in schools. Those are organizations. Behind all this, we are there. People is there. If the focus is people, and we just heard in the previous session someone saying people act with the mind that translates the heart. You said that. Yes, it is true. Those are the two elements we are trained to use somehow during our life. Therefore, if we mean that when we come at a certain age, this is also the age divide, and therefore we have to act with an ethical approach because we have an impact on the society, I think that we are again on the wrong target. If we want someone that will be in a board meeting as a CEO acting ethically, he should be trained of doing it since long time. We cannot expect someone entering a board meeting with no idea of what an ethical behavior is and acting ethically. If he does it for other purposes. If a large corporation acts in a certain way, how much are we guaranteed that that behavior is because they truly believe that this is an ethical standard they want to take and embrace to change society, or is for other purposes? And this is also a main difference between board members, managers, and entrepreneurs. Because entrepreneurs, they are individuals that have a dream to create something which includes values. They're not there to manage it to maximize profit of shareholders. They are there because they believe that they can change society, and they do it through their business. But they are individuals. Again, the focus is people. But now, let me ask you a question. How much are we trained? How much have you been trained in ethics along your careers? At school? At the university? So how on earth we might believe that someone that has never been trained in anything will at a certain point start acting that way? We cannot ask businesses to do something which is, according to a certain economic theory, out of their business, first. Second, the leaders of those businesses, they have not been trained to act that way. I can tell you that in my organization, that is as large as you have mentioned before, whenever I talk about ethics or a portion of parts of ethics, which in political European terms is also translating corporate social responsibility, they turn their eyes on the sky. They say, oh no, again. Why? Because we have the wrong focus. When you look at the legislation in countries, the legislation create a certain limit when you can move yourself according to the believing of the society. They do not tell what you have to do. They tell what you are not allowed to do, leaving the freedom of acting to people. Sometimes I have the impression, and this is for the members of the parliament, that at European Parliament we have a different attitude. We try to force people doing something instead of tell what they should not be doing. And this is also in the field of the ethics or social responsibilities. I really call for a different approach. We should look at the DNA of people. The DNA, it is something that I've been told this morning might change. And DNA, I've always been told, might change because of behavior. Therefore, if we can change the DNA, we should adopt those practices that will empower people at every level, at every stage of their life, to embrace the cause of ethical standards. This is what will give us the guarantee of the sustainability of activities that otherwise, if those businesses that you have shown before would dissolve, all the activities related to those businesses will disappear. While if we relate activities to individual behavior, those activities will stay in a different form because they are part of the DNA of our people. I have tried in my organization to organize activities for the less advantaged people. Instead of spending money going out for the usual Christmas dinner that many of the businesses organize around the world, I had tried to instill the idea, why don't we do something totally different? Instead of spending our money doing this, we do an activities which is related to disadvantaged people and so forth. I can tell you that many of my staff, they have looked at me as I was totally crazy. But not because they believe that that is something wrong, because they have never been trained to think that if you are strong enough to bring your values in your business, that does not diminish your qualification or your appreciation. That empower your business to embrace values that belong to the personal sphere of ourselves. And this is what I really ask the leaders, the political representative to think about and to find a way which is through empowerment, training and education of people to ethical standards. When I have started working for an American company many years ago, I have received, the first day of my work, one little booklet that was entitled Ethical Standards. And I was curious. I said, what is this about? And that was a list of ways you are supposed to behave because you belong to that business. Let's imagine, and this is really my dream, that whenever we employ someone, that employee comes to the employer and saying, look, dear sir, this is my ethical standards collection. You had to behave this way if you want me to be your employee.